Let's do this. All right, Lizzie Martinez. Now it's your turn.
Yes.
Again, I have to. I know it might be sound repetitive, kind of boring, but I mean it. Thank you for coming. Again, it's a Friday night. I'm sure that you guys want to rest, want to do something else. And the fact that you guys are here just talks volumes about you guys. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for thinking of us to be on your first podcast.
No, of course. It's a lot of responsibility. You guys have, been doing what you guys do for a very long time. You have a lot of followers, a lot of things. Like, I need to make sure I do my homework. I need to make sure they like it, because if not, it's like, oh, okay, what's going to happen here? So, again, thank you.
We'll definitely be sharing it.
No, thank you so much. Wow, you see? Thank you for your help again. So let me just tell you a little bit about the purpose of this podcast. Mm-hmm. The purpose of the podcast is just to highlight and share the stories of people making a positive impact in our community. And as I was going through, like, who is a great example? I mean, the very first ones were you guys on my list. So that is the purpose. I was also telling your husband that, to be quite honest with you guys, this is a great excuse for me to network and get best practices from people, not only my business, but from for my personal life. So again, thank you for that, Lizzie.
Definitely.
Nice. So let's get started. Okay. Who is Lizzie Martinez? Can you give us a quick bio, an intro of who you are, please?
Okay, well, I grew up military. My dad was in the Army, and he worked his way all the way up to be a lieutenant colonel. He taught me a lot throughout my life to be on time for things, and to, wake up early, and good things like that I've applied to my life. And then my mom was a teacher. My mom passed away from breast cancer when I was 25. So that's one of my big passions, is to help women to be healthy, internally, physically, spiritually, everything, because I went through that with my mom. So that was kind of a hard patch in my life that I went through. But so I moved all over the world, and that, not the world, but the United States. I moved like every 1 to 2 years. And so I always had to make new friends everywhere that I went. So that helped me to be a lot more outgoing. I moved to El Paso when I was a sophomore in high school. I went to Franklin High School, and it was very different culture than what I was used to. I was always at military bases, so we were always like the new kids all together at the same time. And then when I moved here to El Paso, it was very different, because I was used to being like, hey, like talking to people. And then I would go here and be like, hey, to people that I had a class with, and they'd be like look at me all weird. I'm like, okay, like I felt really out of place here. So it took me a while to get adjusted. I just started, trying to learn the culture and trying to meet as many people as I could. And as I went through high school, eventually I started making more friends. And then I was a cheerleader my senior year, and that helped me make a lot of friends. And so I was always really active like that. And then once I graduated, I went away to Texas State for a little bit. And then I was still in love with Shane, because I had met him right before I left.
Did you guys meet in high school?
No, I met right as I was graduating, the summer after I graduated. It was like the month before I was about to leave. And I was leaving, and we just kept in touch over the phone, and we fell in love over the phone, really. So I came back for him after a semester over there, and I went to UTEP, and we just started, dating, and then I was going to UTEP at the time. We started living together later on, and then he told me, so actually, I would go to the gym with him and stuff, but he's the one that taught me about weight training. I was always active, but he started teaching me about bodybuilding and weight training, and teaching me like everything about Arnold Schwarzenegger and all this stuff. And I was like, this is cool, like the whole bodybuilding culture. So he started teaching me to work out, and he was like, you know what? There's no good girl trainers. Girls feel comfortable with girls. Girls are the one that ask for help, but sometimes there's a lot of guys out there that are creepers and stuff like that. And Shane's like, my schedule is full. You should start being a personal trainer and get all the girls that want to have a nice body and stuff like that. And I was I was doing pageants at the time. And so, I was getting abs and stuff like that. And he's like, girls want to look like that. So you advertise that, and you just start personal training. So from there, we started just doing the personal training together, marketing ourselves together. And that really took off, and I was able to get a lot of clients. And so since I had the clients and he had the clients, we were able to get that income to eventually open up our first gym.
But tell them how you couldn't get a job anywhere because you weren't bilingual.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So one of the things before I became a personal trainer, I was looking for jobs everywhere, and I wasn't bilingual. We couldn't get any jobs anywhere. Even at the bank, I couldn't get a job as a teller. because I wasn't bilingual. And
not even at Planet Fitness?
No, not even at Planet Fitness. I tried to get a job at her gym on the girls' side. And they were like, no, you're not bilingual. We can't hire you. And they got like a chubby girl to be a personal trainer there instead of me. And I was like, really? So that really motivated me a lot to learn Spanish as well. And then Shane's mom doesn't speak any English. So to really win her over, I had to learn Spanish. So I always try to listen in on conversations, and I would do the apps and stuff like that. I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, but that doesn't really teach you much, you know?
Does it want to stop you there? Because you said so many things that, again, for you, it's just the way you are. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, it's kind of rare to find a person like that. So let me first of all start with when you said that, you know what, you start looking for a job and you couldn't find it because of your Spanish. Mm-hmm. Was instead of saying, you know, and I hated that and it kind of pissed me off, you said, well, that motivated me to learn Spanish. Mm-hmm. But do you realize that most people are like, oh, instead of seeing it that way, they see it the other way, that, oh, how we're in America, you know what it is?
True.
So tell me about that. How is it your parents that you got that from?
I think it was from moving around everywhere a lot, because sometimes I was in more of like an African-American culture and I would learn their culture. I lived in Oregon where it was very like hippie and laid back, and I'd learn about their culture. And then when I moved here, I really fell in love with the culture especially once I started dating Shane, and he started teaching me like all of the traditions and all of the Mexican food and stuff like that. And I really fell in love with the culture. So I think that's what motivated me also to learn Spanish.
But your mindset has always been like that, as far as, you know, you're always open and welcoming other cultures. And because, of course, I'm pretty sure that also your parents, that is something that you develop. Because, again, you could have also maybe had a different type of parents that, hey, don't hang around with them, don't talk to them. But it doesn't sound like it was that way, right?
Yeah, and my mom always taught me to be very accepting of everybody. So that helped a lot.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Do you see that maybe as you were talking about, oh, okay, and it's like, wait a second, there's a lot there that a lot of people can learn from. Yeah. Again, now I'll talk to you a little bit more as far as my struggles being a single parent, my daughter living with me. Mm-hmm. But I want to also go back to what you said, your personality. You were very outgoing since the beginning. I know that you said that you travel a lot, so you had to make friends. But then we also have the other side of the token, which is because of that, I was very shy. I never had friends. But in your case, it wasn't that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's just something internally that you are born with, if you're more outgoing or not. Because my brother was the same way. Like, we had the same lives, but my brother was a lot more shy. I would always, like, try to put him out there to meet new people, but he always stayed pretty secluded and more shy and just have, like, a couple friends, you know? So I think it's just something maybe you're born with, to be more outgoing.
Okay. I mean, that's something we can debate on, because the truth is that there's so many factors, right?
Yeah.
But let's move forward as far as, okay, because I know that you're more than a trainer, you're more than a gym owner. Continue telling me everything that you do.
So I'm also a professional bodybuilder.
Oh, just like that, right? Oh, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, so when he was doing bodybuilding, I would watch him compete, and I thought it was really cool. I was always cheering him on, and I would do pageants. And so that was like my kind of competition thing. And honestly, I learned so much from pageants. And people put down pageants and they say, oh, it's sexist and you're putting beauty as like a trophy. But you learn interview skills, you learn how to do your makeup, you learn how to dress. And that's one of the things I wanted to tell you, because you're saying that your daughter doesn't feel confident. That is something that boosted my confidence so much. I know it sounds crazy to say, but pageants put me out there. I had to be on a stage. I had to talk on stage. And so doing that, I learned so much. And from there, from the pageants, I took that into bodybuilding. So Shane was doing bodybuilding, and he said, you know what, there's this new division, it's called bikini, and it's just like girls that are really fit and have abs. And I was like, that sounds cool, because I would do the pageants and I would diet and train and everything for that. And then they would tell me that I was too ripped. They would tell me that was like the feedback from the judges, because I would have a six-pack when I did the bikini and everything, that I was too ripped. So I was like, okay, well, the bodybuilding sounds perfect then, because I was doing the training and everything too, so that really aligned together with the personal training. So I started doing that. I won my first show, I won my second show, I won my third show, and I just kept winning every show. That what?
Undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated as a amateur competitor. And so I had some coaches and stuff that were helping me out. And then they said, you know what, if you want to become a professional competitor, you compete in a national competition, but first test the waters and see how you do at like a bigger competition. So I went to Vegas. I also won that show. I got a really cool sword and everything. So I told Shane, I was like, I guess I'm ready. Like, let's do it. Let's do a national show. And I went to my first national show, which was also in Vegas. There were over 300 girls there from all around the United States or in the world. And I was just backstage, and I was texting Shane backstage. I was like, oh, I quit. Like, there's no way that I'm going to get through this. You know, I was like, all these girls look amazing. And so I went on stage. I was there. I did my posing, everything. And then I was even just like standing there on stage, just like holding my head down. I was like, there's no way that I'd placed. And they called my number, and I didn't even hear it because I totally didn't think that I was going to place. And then Shane was in the audience yelling, they called your number. They called your number. I was like, what? So I went up, and I ended up winning in the national show and getting my professional card, my first time going to a national show.
The first time.
Yeah.
Wow. So, how long ago was this?
It was when I was 25. So I'm 30 now. So about 5 years ago. And then I've been competing in the professional league, which has been another level. It's super hard because it's the best of the best from all over the world. So it's like the Olympics, basically. So I'm competing against girls from Brazil and girls from China and girls from... So it's the best of the best from around the world. And I've placed 6th. That's been my best at a show. So I'm just working my way up into the professional league. And eventually I want to go to the Olympia, which is my ultimate goal. And that's like the biggest of the competitions.
Wow. Well, congrats, first of all.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, because, again, being a bodybuilder, being in shape, trying to exercise requires some discipline. I believe that the discipline that requires, it's extra at another level. Mm-hmm. Did you get that from your dad being in the military? How did you get that? Is it the motivation that you had to place good? How did you get that discipline?
I don't know. My dad always did eat healthy and work out a lot, so that was an example to me. He always had like a 6-pack and big muscles and everything. So, but my mom, on the other hand, she hated working out. She hated eating healthy. So I guess I did see that in my dad, but I really learned a lot from Shane. He's the one that taught me everything about nutrition, about working out, and he was so passionate about it, so it also made me really passionate about it. And since I did have like a really good self-discipline, I'm able to just like stick to the diet, stick to the cardio, do everything 100%.
Wow. You did really good at the beginning, especially being the first event. But have you had maybe an event that you didn't do that well that maybe got you discouraged, or maybe thinking of, maybe, I mean, I can stick to being a trainer. I don't have to be a pro.
Yeah, definitely. My last show that I did was in Los Angeles, and it was the biggest show I've ever done. There was like 50 competitors from, like I said, around the world, from China, from Brazil, everything. And the girls just looked amazing. I didn't place at all. I was just really disappointed after that. And I told Shane, I don't know, maybe I should not continue bodybuilding because this professional league is really hard. And he's like, you know what, just do it as a hobby, do it because you love it, just keep doing it, and it's putting yourself out there, you're getting opportunities, you're getting sponsorships. So I was like, yeah, you're right, I'll keep doing it. So
life dependent on that would be another thing.
Yeah, if it was like my job and my career and I was making money off of it, it'd be another thing. But I have my gym, I have my personal training, so it's more of I try to tell myself it's more of a hobby, but I also really take it seriously, so it's hard. And Shane tells me, no, just do it as a hobby, but I'm like, I give it 100%, like when I would do it, and I have that ultimate goal of going to the Olympia, so it's just...
Wow, it's crazy for me how you talk about it like nothing, but again, on the other token, you can say, you know what, it's a hobby, it's not my thing, like I did well, like the first year doing this, but you choose to, no, you know what, let's make this happen, right?
Yeah.
I was telling your husband, and I want to talk a little bit about this. I was hearing a podcast you did, I don't know how long, maybe not that long ago, that you were talking about opening your own gym, how you were saving money. What I want to spend some time talking about, the fact that you were okay with maybe not going out, not having this luxury stuff, maybe not priving your life from that, well, in reality it was, but because you had a goal. What was the hardest part during that time, and how were you able to stick to that?
Like there was a time that we were making good money, personal training, and I would tell Shane, like, we should get a really nice car, or we should get this, and he's like, no, just be patient. So it does take a lot of self-discipline to not be spending all the money, to reinvesting it into the gym. But when you see the ultimate payoff, you see like, oh, I got this new piece of equipment and everybody's super excited about it, and that's my hard-earned money right there. Once you see that and you see that you're helping people in that way with the gym, it pays off. All of that hard work, all of the times that we didn't have any money, it all pays off.
Wow. What was the hardest part during, how long did you guys save money for?
Probably like 3 years.
Wow.
When we barely opened, 8 months.
Oh, 8 months.
8 months you were saving money, and then that's
we
when
started opening the gym. But then we just kept saving and reinvesting for years and years.
Wow. Talk to me about your first gym.
So our first gym was just a private personal training studio. We got a place that was off of Sunset Road, and we were looking there, and Shane was outside of the place. We were like looking. It was pretty small, and then we were outside on the street, and Shane saw a BMW, and then he saw a Mercedes, and then he's like, where are all these really nice cars coming from? And what we had figured out was that the country club people used that road as a shortcut instead of going down Mesa where all the traffic was. So we were like, oh, this is a perfect location. So when we opened up there, and it was just a private personal training, that's the type of people that we catered to, like business owners and high-end people that could afford personal training. And so we did that, and we grew out of that space because it was a pretty small warehouse. I had yoga classes, and we would just do the personal training. And once we grew out of that, that's when we got to that shopping center that was such a high overhead. And we were able to do it for a while there, but it just got to us. Like the overhead, it eventually catches up to you. You think that you can just keep paying it, but basically we were working to pay the rent. We weren't making a good income from it. Even though we were making a lot of money, we just were putting it into the rent. So, we were like, no, this isn't working. I don't think this business style is working of just the personal training anymore. So once we decided to close that gym, we said, let's go with a new concept. We have enough equipment now. We've saved up enough equipment. Let's do an open gym, like a Planet Fitness or anything that just members can come in and work out on their own. So we got the warehouse with a lower overhead, and we put all the equipment in there, opened it up to the public, $20 a month, and it worked. And it's been doing well.
How difficult was it to close it down? Now that I have my first brick and mortar business, like the idea of closing it, did it seem at any point kind of like, oh, you know what, we're failing at this?
Yeah, it did. And it was sad because it was like a dream of ours, and we had the name, which was New You, and we were really attached to it and everything. And then it's like, you just have to roll with the punches and just keep going and come up with a new concept. And that's what we did. And it actually took off way better than the original idea.
How were you guys able to roll with the punches?
I think just having each other's back, that's what got us through everything, because the people will leave you in your life that you thought that were going to be like your client forever or your friend forever. And once your employees, and once your business isn't doing well, they will leave you like that. They're not loyal. So once you have that person that's loyal to you, that's right there with you all the time, I think that helps a lot. And then, of course, going to church and our faith and everything kept us strong as well.
Wow. It really sounds, and it's evidence that you guys complement each other 100%. Because as Shane was telling me that maybe when he fell down or maybe had some tough moments, you were there, and also he was there for you. So again, I just want to congratulate you guys for that.
Thanks.
Kudos to you guys. I want to talk about COVID, still top of mind. I doubt that when we upload this episode, there's going to be a cure for it. Hopefully, but I doubt that's going to happen. So I know the first shutdown, what you guys did. Talk to me about the second one, which was never a shutdown for you guys. I know you've been dealing a lot with city officials. So my specific question is, how do you think that they've been responding to this crisis? First of all, for the community as a whole, and also for small businesses.
Well, first when everything started happening and they said, like, this county judge says that we need to shut down for 2 weeks, I think that you have to start educating yourself on the political system now, because it's affecting our lives. Before, we wouldn't care about politics. We would just be like, okay, they're doing whatever they're doing in politics. But now you have to start educating yourself, because it really is affecting our lives. They're shutting down your businesses and everything. So when this county judge came out with it, I talked to some other friends, and they were saying, hey, no, this is illegal what he's doing, because he cannot supersede the governor's orders. The governor's orders were that we're not going to shut down. So he was making these orders. Everybody started following it. And I said, no, we're not going to follow it, because it's not legal. It's not legal what he's doing. And so he did that, and it went through another court case, and the court there said that it was legal, that he could shut down. So that's when really everybody shut down. And I said, no, we're going to stick to our guns. Like, we said we're not going to shut down. And a lot of our members told us, please don't shut down, please. They were like, I'm going to go back into depression. I'm going to go back into alcoholism. This is for my epilepsy. I need this gym and stuff like that. So that motivated us. But we were like, guys, we're going to get fined. They said they're going to give us tickets if we stay open. Sorry, my voice is getting all hoarse.
No, you're good.
But they said that they were going to help us with our tickets. And so we were like, really? You guys? One guy came up to us and said, I'll pay for your first ticket, whatever it is, if you stay open.
Tell me that moment. How did that feel? Because, I mean, I can just imagine someone coming, hey, here's some money for you to stay open for a month. They're like, what? Yeah. I mean, you know that's proof that you're doing something well, for sure, right?
Yes, definitely proof, and just reinforcing that what we were doing was right. So we gave them the platform. We said, okay, we're going to open up a GoFundMe so you guys can help us pay for our tickets to stay open. We made the goal for $1,000. The community came together so much, not just our gym members, but other people that follow us on social media. Just $20 here and there. Or like some people gave $200 or $500. We were like, what the heck? All of a sudden it was at $4,500. So
and that was like in a day, right? I was following that. Within hours, you guys had like 2,000, 3,000, and then later on I checked and it was what? $4,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're like, okay, we'll just take the tickets. So the police would come in and they say like, why are you open? And I said, you know what, I'm following the governor's orders, and I'm trying to stay open. And the first guy, he gave me a ticket. He's like, oh, I don't really want to be doing this. I don't really know what's going on, but here's your ticket. Then the second time, some other officers came in and I said, oh, hi officers, I already got ticketed. And they were like, what do you mean you already got ticketed? I was like, yeah, here, look, here's my ticket. He's like, so why are you still open? And I was like, because I'd rather be open and running this business and getting tickets than be out on the streets. And they're like, what do you mean out on the streets? I was like, yeah, because if I don't have my business, I don't make any money. I'm going to be out on the streets. And the cops were just like, oh, okay. And they just walked away. And so I just got tickets like that. Like I got 3 tickets and 2 warnings. And so like all the cops really didn't want to be doing it. You know, they didn't agree with it. They didn't want to put people out on the streets and close down businesses and everything. So it was a really hard struggle there. And it just started getting news attention. All the news wanted to interview me, El Paso Times, KFOX, ABC7. So I was like, at first I was kind of scared to put myself out there because I knew that the haters were going to come out. I knew that there was going to be backlash, but I said, you know what? I'm getting so many messages from small businesses owners right now, like, thank you so much for standing up for us. Thank you so much for doing this. And so I said, okay, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to say that small businesses need to stay open, that it's not fair. Because they showed us the list of where COVID was being spread. It was big box stores. It was travel to Mexico. It was large group gatherings. Gyms were like 5%. Salons were not even on the list.
We were not on the list, by the way.
Yeah, salons were not on the list. So I'm like, why are we the ones being punished? We're all following protocol. We're all wearing masks. We're sanitizing. We've had the COVID people come in like 6 times to check we're make sure you're doing everything right. So if we're doing everything right to the T, social distancing, why are we the ones being punished and being left out on the streets to die or to...
Yeah, and I wanted to make that point because it's not because, I don't care about people dying. I don't care about the current situation. It's not that. It's just that you don't understand what's happening on the other side, right?
Yeah, exactly. And people are saying I'm so insensitive and that I just care about money and stuff like that. I'm like, no, like this is how businesses survive. We're paycheck to paycheck. We're not mega rich like people think that we are. And everybody that's running a business is just living day to day, I think, most of the time. Especially small businesses here in El Paso, we depend on the support from the community. And when we don't have that, it's going to be eliminated, and it's super sad. We don't want Walmart to be the overriding company of our whole city. And there's even a guy that said, I own a bookstore, a little bookstore. He had like a little bookstore and cafe, and he was like, if you make me close down, you're sending people to Target. You're sending people to, Bed Bath, wherever they can get these books, and you're going to shut me down. I only get like 2 customers a day. So
and there's a need for books as well, same as the gym, and yeah.
Yeah, you're just sending them to the big box stores that are staying open because they're essential. But who's to say what's essential? In the long run, like, for example, gyms can be essential. They're essential for people that have alcoholism. They're essential for people that have depression, anxiety, epilepsy, whatever it is. That's essential for them. And so, I don't think it's fair for them to say what's essential and what needs to shut down. even hair can be essential for people. Like hair, I always tell my hairstylist friends, Nancy Pelosi knows that hair is essential, right? Like, so, who's to say what's essential? And I don't think it's very fair what's going on.
And we haven't even talked about the big mess about someone saying yes, the other one saying no. And a lot of us, that's when we kind of like the first time we got into knowing that, hey, like, so this guy does make decisions in this thing, but then so I don't understand. And the thing is that, first of all, I fully understand both sides. Of course, like, everybody was thinking about the community. I really doubt they had a secret agenda. But what they didn't realize is just by them not, like, communicating, not acting, that alone affected a lot more. Let me give you my example that even though I knew also that I didn't have to shut down, but because of that already, I knew that there was going to be less people coming in. Just because of that rumor, because of that, like, you don't understand that as it is, the business went down 30-40% pre-COVID. After the shutdown, we're getting there. And now
you're barely getting your business back, and then they want to shut it down.
And then you bring this, which, again, I fully get it that there is no agenda, but there is, like, hey, before you guys talk about something, you need to really, like, get together and let's come out with
there needs to be a plan of action. It can't just be like shut down everything, no help, figure it out.
Start with the big.
Start with the problems. Start with the big box stores. Start limiting people that can go in, and making sure everybody's following protocol. Because you go into Walmart, there was no, they weren't checking temperatures. They weren't checking how many people are going in with you. Everybody's touching the same stuff, no sanitation. So start with those problems.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that we can spend hours talking about, and let's do it. But the truth is that those haters, because I want to address that, or those people kind of like, let's not call it hate, because I think that's a big word, or
no, it was definitely haters.
Okay. But let me just say, like, at least from my side, like, from my social media, like, those same people saying how irresponsible, close everything down, those are the same ones having carne asada every weekend. And that if you bought it in bulk at the beginning, go for it. But no, I know that you can go, come back, you can go, and that, hey, wait a second, I can guarantee you that there is great possibility of something bad happening, that someone coming to the hair salon in this case, right? And again, those people with those, especially the ones with a stronger opinion, are the ones like going to Cancun. At least, again, from what I saw going on. Okay, but then you want to, because of what's going on. And I get it. And it's like you said it, it's not like we are not taking additional measurements. Like, we are doing something, but you also need to understand this. Briefly, before we continue, let me just tell you, like, I deal with some international sites, as I know, like, how it's been dealt in other places. For example, in I think it's Colombia, in some places it's just by zip code. Only this zip code, one person can go one day out of the week or every 2 weeks to get groceries. That's it. And in here, we can say, oh, it's essential. Okay, but it's essential to go back and now bring your kid. Or, I have a carne asada, so essentially I have to go to, like, what? Like, and again, I get that, but then the city as well, I'm sure it's a hard job, but they need to get other people involved as well. Not because they represent the full city. It's like, okay, all of us take the decision that whatever it is. Again, it's for the intent is good, but then the way it is. And again, they don't understand that just by you opening your mouth, that's it. As it is, again, after COVID, it's different. But now by you saying that it's not, and also talking maybe negative about that, like, you don't know, like, you're hurting my business a lot.
Yeah, so much. And there was just so much confusion between, like, the mayor saying we're not going to shut down and the judge saying we are. And so I was even there, like, at the press conference with the mayor, and the mayor was saying we don't want to shut down. And I had a Zoom meeting with the mayor as well, with other small businesses, where we all told him our struggles that we're going through. And he was super sympathetic. He wanted to keep businesses open. And he told us a lot of good news that is not coming out there on the media. On the media, it's all bad news. It's all scary. But what he was telling us is that, our cases are high. Every big city goes through a spike, but compared to other big cities, we have the lowest death rate. And they're not reporting that, but we have a low death rate of how many cases that we have. Another news that he was saying is that businesses are, like, the bankruptcy of businesses are up 60%. That people are going bankrupt, and that's, like, super sad. That's, putting families out on the streets. restaurants were telling us how they went from 900 employees to 100 employees. So all those people are out.
Wow.
So it was just like so
Carlos
many.
and Mickey's bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Carlos and
Is
Mickey's.
a landmark in El Paso.
Yeah, that the lady from Carlos and Mickey's, she said, it would be easier for me to close, but I know I'm a landmark here in El Paso, and I know this is like a place that people go to as like an El Paso place. She's like, that's why I stay open. But honestly, it would be easier for me to close right now because of how I have to do it.
Wow, that's incredible to hear, because I mean that just like I was lucky enough that I had another job, and because of that, you should see me working some overtime because of the rent. Because even though rent, they paused, but it's still there, and there's a lot of things. I tried helping out my staff as well, and I was happily doing so. But then like, hey, wait a second, are we doing as much as we could be doing? And the answer all the time was no, right? Like you said, there's some people not even on that list, but hey, guess what? You have to help out. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
It was, I'm sorry, it got intense for a second. But out of those meetings, what did you get? Like, what was, I know you're now open, and based on how things look, it doesn't seem like we're going to have another shutdown. Mm-hmm. But what was your take on, like, are we moving towards a good direction when it comes to our government and businesses, or still not?
Yeah, and one of the things that he said, too, is that whenever the cities go through big spikes, it takes about 6 weeks to control it. So we've already been in this spike for about 5 weeks, so we'll probably only have like 1 week left of the spikes and the cases, and then we're going to be able to get it under control. So that was some good news that I got. Again, that's not being reported in the media, of course. But what I really got out of it, too, is that you can have a voice in your community, because, like I said, I was scared to stand up at first because I knew there was going to be a lot of haters. But because I did stand up, I got a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of new people. I got to talk with the mayor. I got to put my voice out there and tell him, like, what's happening with all the small businesses, not only my own small business. And I got so much great feedback from people, like, thank you so much for doing this. I'm a salon owner, I'm a tattoo parlor, and this really motivated me, or, different things like that.
How does that feel?
It felt really great. It felt great to have that support and everything. But then, the haters came in bad. I got a lot of threatening calls as well.
Talk to me about that. I was listening to your podcast about those threats. Talk to me about that, please. Like, I never received a threat. Hopefully I never get one. But how does that feel? Like, I'm sure it's scary at one point, even though maybe you don't take it as serious. But hey,
it's scary because you don't know what people are capable of nowadays, especially after like the Walmart shooting and stuff like that. You don't know what people are capable of. But I have, my husband as my bodyguard. He's got all the muscles, so he can protect me physically. And then my manager, she was the one answering the calls for the gym.
They were even calling the gym.
They were calling the gym, yeah. So she would answer the calls, and then she would kind of relay back to me what they were doing and saying, but she was handling most of it. So thank God, like, I didn't have to deal with those people. She was taking care of me, but she was like, they're calling to cuss you out. They're calling to threaten you. They said their grandma died and her blood is on your hands. So I was like, your grandma didn't step foot in my gym. I don't know why, people just want somebody to blame. And so they saw me on the news, and they want someone to blame for their sadness, for what's going on in the world, and they're putting it on me. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to be the one crucified for this, just to say that I support small businesses and that small businesses should be open, okay, then I'm the one that gets the heat. But I was willing to take it to stand up for what I believe in. And
wow.
And I didn't go read any of the comments, so there was like,
you should have.
No.
Let me send you a copy and I have them here.
People were tagging us into some of them, so I saw some of them, and people were saying like that we're all about the money and stuff like that, and that we drive Bentleys, and that Shane owns a Porsche. Like, just because he models next to a Porsche does not mean he owns the Porsche. It even says like, thank you to my friend who brought the Porsche, but people don't read it, and they just
even if it was his, or whatever. I mean, the only thing I have, and this is something I'm trying to teach my daughter, is whatever you however you feel, it's okay. But try to understand the other side, and with that, comment.
Yeah. Because
I think the other side doesn't understand. They see, again, the money, it's a business. I was even reading one, I don't know if you guys read or not, about, you know what, you should plan financially for this. And if you're not...
How would we ever know that this is going to happen?
And even at that, I'm like, wait a second, like, you don't understand that there's so many things going on. Like, at least try to understand if your opinion still they should close. Okay, say hey because of this or that. Okay, and of course we have to respect everyone's opinion, but the fact of calling it out the way a lot of people did, I'm like, oh really? Like
no, like I've never seen. There's tons of people I disagree with, and I've never gone onto their page and commented something horrible to them. I've never gone out of my way to call a business and be like, you know, like it's just weird to me that people can do that and have that much hate in their hearts to do that and put people down. And it really worries me too, because I was getting so much cyberbullying, like Instagram, Facebook, everything. And it worries me about our children nowadays, like the children that what they're going through with Instagram and Snapchat and everything. I just can't imagine growing up in this day and age with all the cyberbullying. It must be so hard for the kids and their self-esteem and everything going through all this bullying and crap that's being put out there on the media and the internet that they have to read and see every day. You know?
As big as you are in social media, you never had to deal with hate previously, or maybe not that type of hate or any negative comments?
I've dealt with it here and there. There's haters.
But there's nothing
to this extreme.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Well, enough of that. I still have something on loans, by the way. But thank you for that. Again, you know what, the one thing I'm taking away, I mean, I always saw your side, of course, as far as a business, you know what, we have to choose. And here in the hair salon, it was the same thing. I told the ladies, you know what, it's up to you, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I have a job. I can still somehow, some way make it happen. It's still going to be open door. And again, I try to help, especially the first time. But it's up to you. And they feel the same way that you feel as far as, you know what, we're not even on the list. We're taking extra precautions. Yeah. And either if we were to know that, okay, we're doing this only for 1 more week, 2 more weeks. Okay. But this can go forever, right?
Yeah. And then also, one of the things that the mayor told us in the meeting too is that there is no scientific evidence that a shutdown works. Wow. There's no scientific. He said, if anything, you do a shutdown, people go back out into society. 3 weeks later, there's another spike because we've all been lowering our immune systems by staying in the house, and we all go back out again. It's going to be another spike. So he's like, you have to keep businesses open, just following protocol, trying to keep it as low as we can with the numbers. And he's like, that's what we have to do. The shutdown will not do anything.
Wow. Mic drop right there. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about your current gym. Aside from global pandemics, what's the biggest challenge of being a gym owner? Aside from global pandemics. Yeah.
I would say definitely just dealing with a bunch of different people, a bunch of different personalities. You can't please everybody. So you want to, as a business owner, you want to be able to please everybody. But something that we've learned too is that you should just, really try to focus on your specific niche. The people that we are marketing to now are the type that are like bodybuilders, are really into fitness, and we have a few here and there that are like newbies to the fitness world, and we try to educate them, and then they get that whole community around them, and they start getting really into it. So you just focus on that niche of people that you want to target and market to, and focus on making them happy, because you can't make everybody happy.
Wow. How long did it take you to learn this?
Probably from the first gym till now, we've learned along the way, because we did market to a different niche the first time. Like I said, we were marketing to more high-end and everything, and now it's a little bit more like middle-income people. And it's crazy the difference, like when you start to see how different people act, and you just learn how to market to them, you learn how to talk to them, and you learn how to sell to them and become friends with them as well.
Wow. Let me ask you a similar question, but the opposite. What's the most rewarding thing about being a gym owner?
Definitely just seeing all the results in people, their lives changing, their bodies changing, their confidence going up. Like I'll start with a girl that just starts really shy and really doesn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden you turn them in. Like, for example, I don't know if you know Elia Esparza. She's a singer.
That's where that's
so
the
she
podcast.
Was like, I saw her singing one time, and she was a little bit on the chubbier side, and she had gone to, she's cool, she knows. And so I saw her, and I was like, man, that girl is such a good singer. And I was like, if I could train her, I could get her such a nice body. I was like, I know I could do it. So I told her, you know what, come with me. I'm going to teach her everything. So I started teaching her about nutrition, having her work out. She got super into it. Her body changed. Her confidence changed. She just, started blowing up on social media and everything as well. And just seeing that whole change in her. And now she's even going to be a personal trainer. She's going to do some personal training
I
on the side.
heard
Like
that,
she
actually.
changed like her whole life, and really got into fitness. So when you see somebody change that much, it's so rewarding.
Wow. This the side story here. Now that we're talking about her, because that was the podcast. You know, when I mean, I know a little bit about the background, right? But then when I heard her in the actual on the podcast, I was like, wow, it really surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. Not that I wasn't, because she's pretty smart. She can really carry a conversation like, oh, look at that, you know?
Yeah.
And the question that she asked and everything, and not only your podcast, but I mean, your episode, but others. I was like, you know what? I was very surprised. Now, it seems like she already had that mentality, that mindset of being positive, of course, putting in the work. How about the clients that you get there, they're not as positive and maybe that they expect immediate results? How do you deal with that?
Me and Shane just both try to feed our clients with positivity all the time. So they'll tell me something like, I'm fat, or I'm depressed, or I'm like, you have to speak life, speak positivity, say, I'm going to be skinny, I'm going to be happy, it's just changing their mindset little by little like that, and feeding into it and saying, I believe in you, I know you can do it. You'll just see such a dramatic difference by giving them that little bit of hope, that little bit of belief in them that they could do it, and then you just see their whole lives change. So it's
wow,
cool.
not only in fitness, but I'm sure that in other of aspects of their life, of course.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Lizzie. As far as like, what is the advantages of having a trainer and not? I've been seriously thinking about getting one, but then on my other side, like, hey, there's YouTube videos, come and check it out. But obviously, I'm still far from my goal, and I'm like, there has to be like advantages of, first of all, paying someone that kind of like gets another level of, okay, now you have to do it. But not only that, but also helping you with the mindset, your accountability. What other things am I missing as far as the advantages of having a personal trainer?
Personal trainer will definitely push you harder during your workouts.
The good ones, right?
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah, so say you're following YouTube and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do these with 5-pound weights. A trainer is going to be like, no, you're going to do that with 10-pound weights. And that trainer believing in you that you can step it up and do it with that weight, or step it up and do it with that reps, that little bit of belief is going to push you harder in your workouts. And then also all of the complementary stuff that comes with it, like the nutrition. So I sit down with my clients, talk about nutrition with them. So does Shane. We even our members of the gym, Shane does a free nutrition talk with them every first Saturday of the month. He does free nutrition for everybody. So we give them that aspect as well. And that's 70% of what you're going to do. It's all the eating. So it's the eating, 70%, and then it's the weight training, 20% and then the cardio. You also want to add in the cardio if you're trying to lose weight. So I give advice to my clients on what cardio they should do. I send emails every month that have cardio routines for them to follow, at-home workouts that they can do on their own, and then they come in with me like 3 or 4 times a week.
Wow. I think you answered my next question, but let me ask it anyways. How can you tell a good trainer from a bad one?
Well, actually, we had a guy come do a motivational speech for our trainers the other day because, especially during this time, November, December, it's harder for trainers usually because people get lazy. It's the holidays. They start eating a lot. So how can we be motivating to our clients? And what this motivational guy, you should have him on the podcast, actually. Jack Bumgarner.
From El Paso?
Yeah, his name's Jack Bumgarner. He's a realtor.
#1 real estate agent in El Paso.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's super motivating. So he came and he talked to everybody and he said...
living. We asked him to come.
Yeah. And he told them, okay, do you want to be a transactional trainer or do you want to be a relational trainer? What's the difference? A transactional trainer is one that gets your money, gives you a workout, that's it. A relational one is the one that reaches out to you. Hey, how are you doing with your nutrition? Is your family following the nutrition plan too? Hey, did you do your cardio today? And then also just having that relationship with them as their life, like, hey, how are your kids doing in school and stuff like that. So, and giving them letters, giving them gifts, like whatever you can, making it more relational is how you're going to maintain a relationship with that client long term, as opposed to being a transactional trainer that is just there for the money, there to do the job and out.
Yeah, and you can tell some people, not only trainers, but in every aspect. If you're a salesperson, I'm sure there's like tips, tricks, a guideline of do this. But if you don't do it sincerely, I mean, people can
People
tell when
can
it's
tell.
fake or
They
not,
can
right?
feel it, yeah.
I'm sure that that a trainer can say, "Hey, so what did you eat today?" Oh, okay, but I mean, aside from the question, like, there's more to that, and obviously, you guys have been doing a really good job of not only doing what you have to, but really caring about it. So, I mean, the fact of on the GoFund that they were able to, because I'm sure that a lot of people that donated don't even go because maybe they're scared. But the fact that they did, it was more for you guys than like the other people. So
yeah, and then what was really cool too about the GoFundMe is once we realized that we're not going to have to pay our tickets anymore because it was unlawful, the whole shutdown. So all the tickets are going to be dismissed. So we told all our members, we're going to refund you guys because we're not going to need to pay those tickets anymore. So there was a few that did want the refund, but for the most part, people were like, keep the money invested in the gym. So
wow,
we were like, wow,
I
like
should
that's
email
amazing.
them or go. Wow. So I mean,